Okay, we good?
Is it one for me or no, Joe?
It should be.
Yes, yeah,
If not, you can have it,
pass it down. Okay,
here's your packet. Take one down, pass them around.
AJ, I mean, not AJ, I'm sorry, Asaf, one of those names that starts with an A and 4 letters. Asaf? Can we? Thank you. Okay. No. Good evening. This is the work session of April 28th, and we are now in order at 6:02 PM. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Roll call, please. Clerk?
Councilmember Usher.
Here.
Councilman Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Here.
Councilmember Patel. Councilmember Patil.
Here.
Councilmember Pointer.
Present.
Councilmember Schwell.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, could you read adequate notice?
Adequate notice of this meeting as required by the Open Public Meeting Act has been provided by the annual notice sent to the Home News Tribune, Star Ledger, Desi Talk, and News India Times on November 18th, 2024, and posted Main Lobby Municipal Complex on that same date.
Thank you. Number 4, review of minutes. Any comments on the combined meetings of either February 15th or April 16th? Seeing none, we now move to the unfinished business of ordinances for further consideration, public hearing, and final adoption. Madam Clerk, could you read?
No,
This is no, you don't read it?
this is a
Oh,
work session.
okay, all right. So for 2247, any comments or questions?
Council President,
Yes.
just one quick question here. Is there any reason that we are increasing the limit, cap limit? Because we are all within the budget. If you look at last 2-3 years, we're within 2%. So is there any reason, specific reason we are?
It primarily allows us future flexibility. We don't need it in 2023. However, it's one of those things, if we don't take it, then it won't be available to us next year. So even though this guides appropriations, what really is the key factor and the key cap is the tax levy cap, because that limits the amount we place property taxes on people. So the appropriation cap, by giving us that extra 1%, just gives us future flexibility.
Understood that, but that also helps to inflate the budget in future, and that's the reason I was asking. If we have the fiscal discipline around, because we have not increased this cap for several years now, I do understand that it does help in the future, but I'm just curious why this year and why not next year, and why it was not last year, but this year.
Yeah, no, we've done this in the past, and as you can tell by looking at our tax rate increases, it has not abnormally affected our bottom line tax rate increase, but it does allow us flexibility.
Understood.
And in the past, what they've done, and even this year, they've given us some concession on cap relief for insurance costs, which are beyond our control, or pension costs.
Yeah.
So this just gives us flexibility for the future. Doesn't mean that we're going to raise taxes accordingly.
Understood. My only last question is there anything in future we are anticipating, maybe insurance could be one area that it might go up and that this could help? Anywhere it would help, that's what the point is.
I couldn't tell you what the foreseeable future would, I mean, I couldn't answer that for you,
Okay, no,
unfortunately.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else on 2247?
Council President?
Yes, Councilman Fresher?
Yes. So, right, I understand, like, insurance is outside the cap, right? So if your insurance went up 32%, you can raise that, correct?
That's just a one-time exception for this year. They only allowed increases over 3.5% to be appropriated outside the cap.
Okay. Now, for this year, right, our taxes aren't going up like 5% or anything. But what would be the maximum amount that you could raise taxes next year, besides the things outside the cap, if we approve this? Because this is increasing that now, correctly?
Correct, but we're still limited by, the property tax levy cap. We still have that limit that we have to contend with. So even though you may be able to spend more on the appropriations, you're limited as to how much you can increase property taxes by.
Right, but what would that number be then? Because that would be this plus, I think it's 2.5, right? That we
Yes,
could?
correct, it's 2.5%.
Right, and if we increase this is, and how long does this last for? 3 years?
2 years, and then it burns off. So again, it's just giving us flexibility for next year and the year after, and we may not need it. This year, we didn't need it.
Right. No, I listen, I do get that. That's what one of our residents always say, that we actually don't, when we say we do zero, it's not a zero until 2 years later, when you actually don't need to borrow it. I just don't see the need to increase this, but that's just a personal opinion. I think where we are now is sound financially. I don't think we need to do that. That'd be it, Council President.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Comments or questions about 2248, about Schuyler Drive? Okay.
I would just, for stuff like this, I kind of like to see if we have people from the public, if they come up and they have any issues on anything. I mean, it definitely looks like an improvement to the neighborhood. I hope that my council colleagues looked at stuff, because this would be something that, if we approve this at the end of the day, this body is ultimately the one that's responsible, right? Like if there's an issue with parking, or I remember Councilman Coyle brought up one time about billboards on one of these. But being that I don't see anyone here, I guess it's a good thing for the town.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. Moving to number 6, proposed ordinances. Any council comments on the ordinance amending, do I have you read this or not? No? Okay. Okay, all right. Ordinance amending Chapter 2 Administration, Article 3 Departments by amending portions of subsection 2-33.1 Division of Fire, Rescue, and Emergency Services through subsection 2-33.6 Firefighters, Promotions, Procedures. Any questions or comments?
Is this okay with, does our fire department like this? Our chief, is the chief here?
He was.
Yes, actually, he'll explain the recommendation that was made to the administration and, of course, to this body.
Councilman, our physical agility hasn't been updated since the 90s, so this brings the physical agility up to the standards with the state under the civil service, so we have something to fall back on. It's not that they developed it inside Edison. This is a state-ran one that if you challenge it, at least you have a guideline to go by. And for the promotions, there's an extra course that's on there that's not on the ordinance. Hazmat on-scene incident commander, so it just shows in the ordinance what you need, so we thought it was a good time to update the ordinance. And instead of fireman, we put firefighter. You got that one?
Very good.
So it's just an ordinance that's out of date. We're just clarifying the language. It's not making it easier. It's just bringing it up to today's standards.
Okay, thank you, chief.
Councilman, we'd also like to, once hopefully this body will adopt this ordinance, to go ahead and implement hiring. So that's one of the things too. We want to make sure we set someone up for success who wants to become a firefighter in Edison Township.
Anyone else on A? All right, seeing none. On B, about authorizing the Township of Edison to acquire irrevocable conservation easement over the property located at 110 Clive Street, Block 557-8, Lot H, Lot 30-B, on the official tax map of the Township of Edison, New Jersey. Questions, comments?
I have a question. Well, I don't understand the need for it, I guess, is where I'm going. Would they still, if we don't do this, or if we do this, are their taxes the same for the property? or are there taxes less for the property now that there would be a like governmental easement on it? I mean, I understand it's wetlands, but it would be considered part of the whole parcel on square footage, and I don't know tax-wise that they take that into consideration.
Go ahead, Council Vice President.
Thank you, Council President. Just some background. I don't have the answer in terms of the tax implications, but the background to this was it was a subdivision application before the planning board. As one of the conditions of approval, the planning board said that you had to put a conservation easement around the pond, for lack of a better word. So this executes that. For myself, I like the fact that the administration kept it with the irrevocable conservation aspect. The applicant had come back to the planning board when I was on it last year, asking to modify the condition for it to be revocable if the DEP reclassified the pond. I actually voted no on that amendment, because if it were revocable and the DEP were to change the classification, then the property owner would be able to subdivide the property again in the future. However, with this being irrevocable, it would eliminate that potential. But to your initial question on the tax implication, I don't have that answer.
Right, the taxes. The other, I'm not really concerned, being that I'm 60 years old, and I remember when we would fill in wetlands, right? I haven't seen the state of New Jersey get easier on disturbing wetlands or ponds. So to think that the DEP would say that you could get rid of ponds or things like that, to me are just, that's something, we're gonna wait for the asteroid or something to hit the earth first. But it's really more the tax implication.
I can give him a general
Sure,
answer.
go ahead, Counselor.
Councilman, I can give you a general answer to your question on the valuation of the property. So for assessment purposes, there are generally two components. One is the land component and one is the improvement component. As a general rule, the improvement components are the more substantial portion of the total assessment of the property. The difference between land that's wet and land that's wet and has a conservation easement on it for land valuation purposes is generally negligible, if at all.
Could we get that from maybe Joanne? All right, thank you.
All right, anyone else on that ordinance?
Yeah, Council President, just I
Yes.
want to say happy that, finally this is, if this approved, this will close, not from the builder, but this is a landmark also called as a Lucid Pond. This is your neighborhood. And this issue was pending for a long, long time. And I know builder is struggling, the township is struggling. I think the neighborhood also wants that pond to be preserved because it's a historical landmark there. So happy to support. Thank you, Council President.
Yes, and for myself, yes, I live 3 blocks away from there, and before it got overgrown, it was a wonderful haven for blue herons and all kinds of wildlife there, and it's going to be nice to see the wildlife come back. Right now, there are some dens of foxes in there, but and some deer that go through there, but it's going to be nice to see that cleaned up and reestablished back to its original state. Okay, on to, from the business administrator, 7A or B. Questions, comments? Okay. Yes, Councilman Brescher?
Yes, the B. This is property that we own, right? This is township
The housing authority.
housing authority
Yeah.
property. But we're looking to get a pilot from them because they're exempt from taxes, right?
This isn't a pilot necessarily. This is a cooperation agreement so that there is some financial support to the housing authority. And in return, we would then get credit for the units.
Oh, this is where we can take that out of that $10 million or something, right?
Right.
Okay. No, that's perfect. I mean, that's what this is perfect.
It's great. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, moving on to 8, A through H. Okay. Seeing none, we move on to 9, Department of Planning and Engineering, A. Okay, we're good. On 10, Department of Public Works, A. Moving right along, number 11, Department of Recreation, A. Okay, 12, Department of Water and Sewer, A. 12A.
Council President?
Council Vice President?
Not directly related to the resolution, but the overall project. Is there a time frame from, in terms of us bidding out for the water meters and such?
Yes, I do have a timeline. I can provide that to you.
I appreciate that. I'm happy to see that we're moving forward with this. For anyone that may be interested as to what this does, it's to replace the water meters for those serviced by the Edison water utility. Converting them to smart meters, this will help us be able to have not only more accurate billing, but if there are any detections of irregularities, we'll be able to detect them and be able to address potential water main issues that the township has had. So I'm happy that we're moving forward with this, and I look forward to supporting it. Thank you, Council President.
Anyone else?
Council President, just a quick question on that. I think we did approve the bond, I think way last year, right? For this one.
You did. So the iBank has officially approved it last couple weeks. Their requirement is that we come back to this body and execute that agreement.
Perfect. Thank you.
Last call. Anyone else? Okay, moving on to 13A from the Chief of Police. Very good. 14A from the Township Clerk, liquor license. Questions? All right. We go to oral petitions and remarks. Sue.
Hello, Sue Malone Barber, 85 Pleasant Avenue. I have a lot of questions on where we are with affordable housing. I sent Margot a letter on Wednesday, and I just thought I would read that letter. Maybe we have some answers, I don't know. But otherwise, entering this into the public record. So I watched the last council meeting, and I read Suzanne Russell's article in My Central Jersey, and I am still very unclear as to what the township intends to do to deal with its affordable housing obligation. When Mr. Mincello said that Edison will file a comprehensive action, I'd like some clarity on what that means exactly. Where does it get filed? With a court? How many affordable housing units does Edison say is appropriate? What will we base our number on? Where does Edison propose to put the affordable housing units? How many market rate units will developers be allowed to build in order to support the affordable housing requirement? Mr. Mincello referred to relying on a formula from the old fair housing law, but is the old law still applicable? Wondering if we could get, or I could get, a reference to a specific section of the statute that indicates municipalities have the option on which one they follow. As you might anticipate from me, me and many of my neighbors are quite concerned about the impact affordable housing will have on the Amboy Avenue area of Claro Barton. Come July, what happens if a developer applies to build high-rise apartments on Amboy Avenue and justifies it by reserving a few units as affordable? Will we be forced to grant variances that override the imperfect but long-fought, thank you, ordinance that was passed to control density and height along Amboy Avenue? What would Edison's defense be to a builder's remedy lawsuit after June? And then finally, I am reading lately, I think it was today, that at least 6 or 8, I forget the number, other municipalities have come to an agreement and have successfully lowered their affordable housing obligation. And so while so many other municipalities have gotten in front of this, we have not. And I would like to understand why we're waiting until June. Does that narrow our opportunity to negotiate a number? And I have to be honest and say that the June timeline kind of seems like an election strategy. I can't imagine affordable housing will be very popular, like where these buildings go. And it's unclear to me what the delay does for anybody but the administration. And maybe we can provide some clarity on why we are waiting until June when so many other municipalities have already gotten in front of this. Those are my questions. There are a lot of them. I don't know if any of them can be answered now. Margot did tell me that she referred my note to Mr. Ranone, and I hope it doesn't take too long to get answers because the lack of transparency just raises more questions about it, so.
All right, thank you. You want to tackle?
Sure.
Okay.
Since the Mount Laurel Doctrine was brought into place in New Jersey in 1975, there have been at least 2 ways that a municipality can gain relief from builders' remedy lawsuits. In Mount Laurel 2, the courts established a process where a municipality could file a declaratory judgment action, which would then put it through the Superior Court process. Subsequent to that, the state enacted the Fair Housing Act, which established the Council on Affordable Housing, which gave you an administrative way to gain that same comfort and that same relief from builders' remedy lawsuits. In 2024, when the new statute was enacted, I'm skipping 30 or 40 years of history in the interest of just trying to get you some basic understanding. The statute, again, authorized 2 procedures to gain that type of immunity. The first was a permissive process where you could go through what was essentially an alternative dispute resolution program, or you could continue to file your declaratory judgment action in the Superior Court. It's my understanding that Edison has opted to go through the declaratory judgment action in Superior Court. Edison has continued immunity from builders' remedy lawsuits through the end of this round. That's the June 30th, 2025 date that you've referenced. The next round starts July 1, and the filing of that declaratory judgment action gets you the temporary immunity until that is resolved. So I've given you broad strokes. You've asked specific questions, which I'm not prepared to give you answers to, but I will affirm to you the township's continuing commitment to meet its regional obligation to provide affordable housing.
Thank you, Counselor.
That's the best I can do tonight.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can I ask a follow-up or no?
No, unfortunately, your time is up. Thank you. All right, next. Anyone else in the public? Is that you, Lois? Is that a little raised hand? Okay. Oh.
Motion to close the public portion?
No. What is this? Yes, ma'am. Your name and address, please? Oh. Do we have the sign?
Not good.
Oh, this was. Do we have?
Council President, is it possible we could temporarily suspend and forfeit her time to a later time of the day of this meeting? Maybe we can do her in 10 minutes and have her come back up?
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding your question.
The fact that we don't have an interpreter right now and we have to get somebody, perhaps we could do a one-time allowance of yielding her time for in 20 minutes and bring her back up. Reopen the public portion just for her.
Council President, there were communication back and forth with the clerk's office, and I advised that they should get the equipment from the court. So I don't know if that was completed or not. I can certainly run out and grab it from them if that's the case.
What would you recommend for this situation?
If the clerk's office doesn't have it, I will go run out to the.
Yeah, you don't have it? No? Right.
The court's right next door.
It's next door. Do you have the equipment that was?
Sit down, wait.
Could you let the council president know, please? Thank you.
What should I tell her to do?
Normally, the policy is if you're impaired, if you need any special assistance.
Can you put that in the microphone?
As far as I understand, our policy is that if we needed assistance, like we advertise in our notices, that we'd need some notice in order to prepare for 48 hours notice is what I
Okay.
believe we have.
So I'm wondering, could this be put off to the Wednesday meeting? That's 48 hours in advance, since we did not have advance notice.
Council President, I can call the court administrator and try to get this handled. I certainly wouldn't want to turn her away.
Okay.
If we have the equipment
Okay,
next
if you-
door, okay? Just give me a few minutes.
Sure, and
Thank
maybe
you.
we'll see if anyone else wants to speak in the meantime. All right, we'll come back to
Council
you.
President, if there's a possibility that she may be able to work offline with our communications department, maybe we can solve.
Excuse me.
Let's,
After you
let-
type that voice,
yeah, that's fine.
Friday,
Uh,
I asked for a sign.
Okay, just in the microphone, please.
Friday, I asked for a
Can
sign
can I
language
just get your
interpreter.
name? Ma'am, can I just get your name?
I think I might find my name. I want my name. Good evening. My name is Rhonda. The first name. Last name, Abbott.
Okay, got it. Thank you very much.
I need other information. Maybe you need this.
That's all right. It's okay.
You need to want her to speak or?
Yes, she can speak.
Speak, Jeff. You get like 3 minutes. 4 minutes. Friday, I asked for a sign language interpreter. Not surprised your township didn't get me a sign language interpreter. Your police department discriminates on the basis of disability. They don't display the state's mandated New Jersey public accommodation poster that's required under NJAC 13:8-1.4. I was here on April 1st. I spent at least 45 minutes of my quality time talking with your township clerk, explaining to her how to put up the current posters from the state. I came back here on April 25th. Posters were still not up. By law, you cannot display outdated posters. This is a 5-minute project. You have posters over there, 15 years old. Sure, you could archive them. This is an article that came out on August 3rd, 2022. Posters came out on August 1st, 2022. All employers, housing providers, and places of public accommodation are required by law to display the new posters. Again, this came out August 3rd, 2022, 2 years, 8 months ago. Any employer, housing provider, or place of public accommodation that is currently displaying prior versions of the posters should remove them and replace them with the updated posters. I spent 45 minutes of my time here, April 1st, donating my quality time with your township clerk, and 3 weeks later I came back and everything was still the same. You are 1, 2, 3, there's got to be at least 7 or 8 of you. I don't know how anybody could just sit there and ignore the New Jersey law against discrimination. It's entrenched in employment that ends in 1.2, housing that ends in 1.3, public accommodation that ends in 1.4, medical facilities that ends in 1.5. That's NJAC 13:8, 1.2, 3, 4, or 5. Your police department is not accessible to the deaf. Treated me horribly, and they treat an arrest like it is a sport. They don't comply with the ADA Title II for state and local government. They do not comply with the New Jersey law against discrimination. I am a graduate of Gallaudet University in 1981, the world's only liberal arts college for the deaf. I've been to the Deaf Olympics. My professor warned me, he warned the whole class, we're going to have to stand up for civil rights. 21 years old, I didn't even know what a civil right was. Had a very rude awakening. I don't know if anybody wants to ask me any questions. The lady's going to have to help. Questions for me?
Thank you. Okay. Did you have questions? Your time is just about up, but we can.
Just if possible, if you can just give to the clerk for me what the actual state statute is. I didn't capture it. Just curious. Thank you.
Okay. Counselor,
This is my bag of written papers
okay.
that was assaulted by your police department.
thank you, ma'am. Your time is up. Counselor, what can you tell us about this?
I can tell you that I'll be happy to look into it, but I don't know it off the top of my head. So I do have they're actually not statutes, they're administrative regulations that I've got Rhonda as her name, but I didn't catch the last name. But Ms. Abbott said it's NJAC 13:8-1.2 through 1.5. So I can find out, and we'll report back.
Okay, all right. Thank you. So, Counselor, we'll look into this.
Excuse me, I have
No,
a
I'm sorry, your time is up. Your time is up. It's 4 minutes of speaking time.
Mr. Romano, you promised me.
I'm
you would put the
sorry.
posters up and you never did.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, anyone else from the public? Yes, Liz?
Elizabeth Conway, 20 Netherwood Circle. Just a quick question. On 8G and H, it says temporary emergency appropriations for the municipal budget and for sanitation budget. Are there dollar figures attached to this? Because I don't have it on the paper.
There are.
Yes, there should be dollar figures attached to it. They are as listed under the municipal budget for, they're under purchasing, legal department, streets, roads, building and grounds, health, street lighting expenses, each equal to $412,000. That's under the municipal budget. And then for the sanitary budget, the sanitation budget that is under other expenses, $150,000.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Public comment? Have a motion close?
Motion to close the public portion?
Second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Council President? Just wanted to ask Madam Clerk, when do we have the timeline as to when we should have these posters up? I do have the flow chart if you need as to which posters we need. When will we have these posters that need to be
That
up?
would come from the HR department. That's in the hallway, that's
Okay.
third grade to personnel.
Sonia, can we follow up with HR?
There is posters up there, they're just outdated, and I believe, because she's already been in, that the HR department is looking to get the new ones, but, there is old ones up there.
If they need the link, I have the link here with the updated posters. Should be easy to print. I'll send it to you.
Print it.
Okay. All right. Going on to council committees, boards and commissions, liaison reports, starting with you, Councilman Brescher.
None at this time.
None at this time? All right. Councilman Coyle?
Thank you, Council President. I wanted to mention, we just had a public safety meeting and met with our chief, Councilman Asaf Shmuel and Councilman A.J. Patil. We went over a variety of factors and issues across the town. I was pleased to hear a lot of the great things that are happening across Edison and the amount of detail the chief is involved with Captain Hammer and Deputy Chief Dudash. Together, I definitely believe we've made a huge impact in town here. Although I don't want to reveal every step of the strategic plan of the police department and what they do on the day-to-day. But what I can say is, in the evening and around the clock, we have probably 4 times as many officers out there investigating cases. And I think their strategic plan is like no other town. And I think any other council member who's on that committee can speak for that as well. I'll leave that at that. But at one point, this town had, have been as low as 160 officers, and we are well up to 199 officers today on the road. We've had over 59 retirements at a certain time, and that was about 26 months ago. And you have to think of the changes in place and officers and different supervisors that took place there, as well as detectives. So I am truly pleased to sit down face to face with the chief and learn of all the different great things to protect the citizens of Edison here. And I am very thankful. If any other committee member wants to comment on that before I go to my next finance committee, I will wait.
Questions, comments?
I'd just like to add to what Councilman Coyle said. The chief did note that crime is in fact trending down, and I wanted the public to know about that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Councilman Patil?
Yeah, again, it was a great meeting. Thank you, Councilman, for the updates. Chief, you and your department always do a wonderful job. What you put in through the day, I don't think the average citizen really understand. But again, doing a good job. Hopefully, we'll have more police officers. If this body needs, to approve additional funds, happy to support that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yeah, this is a great job, really great job. Okay, moving on. I'm sorry, you had more. You had more.
Okay, and just to end on the public safety for, in comparison to 10 years ago, we've implemented so many plate readers across this town, from mobile plate readers to stationary plate readers. If you come through Edison and you have a car that's stolen, the chief dispatch is notified in seconds. And we have a team out there, chasing you down. I mean, you look at what may have happened 10 years ago if you drove through Edison with a false plate or something across Route 1. It's incredible the amount of technology we have today, and I'm sure Councilman Patil can speak for that as well. He's in technology. It's quite amazing what you can do today. Whether you turn around in a parking lot, we may have one there. Whether you cut across Menlo Park Mall, we have one there. They are everywhere. So if you're coming to Edison, you better think twice, because we'll be out there in seconds, and I am truly proud of that. Thank you. Council President, I just wanted to move to finance. Our Finance Committee met twice, and each one of you just received a small packet we got through Kendra Roberts. And I am pleased to say that overall, our first meeting was going over 2024's revenues and appropriations, municipal, solid waste, sewer, water, and the overall performance of each department. And we're pleased to say that we had a very large surplus to put forward into this year's 2025 budget. And in this budget we have here, the municipal tax rate the mayor's proposed is less than 1%, which is certainly something most residents want, is a low tax rate. But also at the same time, as we do raise taxes 1%, you have to understand that at this position we're in, we're also doing a great job keeping and maintaining all municipal services. So there wasn't one single cut in municipal services, and I'm truly proud of that. So as you look throughout your town and the improvements that we have in programs from seniors to children, every single program is staying forward. So I'm going to move forward to allow any council questions if they had any, or we can do that during the work session. But I've set forth here all the numbers that we've had in place here. And we have to consider, all the one-shot revenues we've had in the past, which we don't have today. And at the same time, I'm truly thankful for, our tax assessor department handling all of our appeals and making sure that we have a comfort of a cushion of how much we may be appealed on. And they have been wonderful. I don't think any council person's questioned their work and how great, and that's kept us at a truly solid place. So I'm thankful for the work of this council reviewing this. This is our budget now to look at. Several members of the council have separate meetings with the township officials. If you don't have a meeting, please let me know today, and I'll make sure you do. And we will look to see if this budget is appropriate to pass. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Coyle. And this looks like a really good packet, and it looks like it summarizes things very well. So I look forward to taking a deep look at this. Any other comments or questions about this report? Okay. Then we'll move on to Councilman Patel. Any committees? No? Okay. Councilman Patil?
None at this time.
Okay. Councilman Shmuel?
Not at this time, thank you.
Okay. Council Vice President?
Thank you, Council President. Just some updates from the Human Relations Commission. They are setting up an event for Memorial Day. It's to be determined, but they are looking for guest speakers related to local heroes for Memorial Day. Their next meeting is Tuesday, May 6th, here in Council Chambers at 7 p.m. And you may mention this as part of Cultural Arts, but I was told they are partnering with the Cultural Arts Commission for June to do something for Juneteenth. The Environmental Commission had 2 cleanups over the weekend. One that was actually inadvertently happened. It was scheduled to happen, but with the weather, it was actually canceled, but people still came out. This was at John Adams Middle School. Over 20 volunteers participated on Saturday's cleanup, collecting over 500 pounds of trash and miscellaneous items. So I'd like to say thank you to all the volunteers for their time and effort, as well as to DPW and police for their assistance in that cleanup. Likewise, on Sunday, there was a cleanup at Swales Park that had over 25 volunteers picking up 17 bags of mixed trash. So overall, I think that's a pretty big haul just for the weekend, which is fantastic that we had that type of community involvement and care to facilitate these types of initiatives. The next meeting for the Environmental Commission is Thursday, May 15th, 7 p.m. here in Council Chambers. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Council Vice President. I have no committee reports. The next commission meeting is the Cultural Arts Commission, which will be next Tuesday, May the 6th. We move on to points of light. Any points of light? Okay, well, I have a couple. First of all, just to announce the Memorial Day Parade, this is Edison Township's 61st annual, will be held Saturday, May 24th at 12 p.m. The parade begins at noon at Division Street and travels along Plainfield Avenue, ending at Lindenau School, 50 Blossom Street. Refreshments to follow at the American Legion Father and Son Post 435. We're looking for parade participants. So that's Saturday, May 24th at 12 p.m. I also wanted to share about the Hashoah event that was at the JCC last Wednesday. It was an interfaith event, and it was extremely moving and meaningful. And the takeaway was a man, this is a survivor, he's 102 years old, sharp as a tack. He lives in Monroe, but he spoke and spoke very eloquently. He and his family were not shipped to camps, but they escaped, and it was really quite a story of the journey that they took in order to finally get to America. It took a long time, actually, but it was a very, very touching ceremony, and we will never forget, and so that was a extremely important event. Okay, now we go on to council discussion items. I'm going to go from my left. Councilman Shmuel?
Yes, thank you, Council President. I wanted to ask the administration about, we'll start with B. Do we have a paving schedule specifically for the South Edison neighborhood? Because driving around, I see that some of the roads are in dire need of help.
We are working through the Violytics program to identify more of those areas, specifically that you mentioned in South Edison. We are also with the Edison Water District, being that it's heavily in that area, we're trying to coordinate that infrastructure and then, of course, the paving, if you will. So we're working through those two lists of things. Once we have the list for Violytics, I can surely share that with the council.
So, thank you. The water comes first, and then the paving is afterwards?
Yes.
And can we base off the analytics of where we hit the water issues before the paving? Can we piggyback on each other? Is that something that could be coordinated?
Well, that's exactly what we're trying to coordinate, is the water infrastructure, the projects that we have that are outstanding in that area, and then taking it and matching it with what Violytics is proposing, that, you know, certain areas that are in more need and in priority.
Okay. I'll look to that email. And the flooding issues on Marshall Drive, leading into Marshall Drive, I think it's on Washington, Lexington. There's a tremendous amount of water, specifically when it rains, but also when it doesn't rain, that accumulates at the end of those roads. Are you aware of that issue?
I am. Again, it's one of those Edison water utility areas, and so we had a utility company out there, and there were some repairs done. This is a valley cutter back, so what we can do just to temporarily relieve some of those water issues is have our DPW do something to remediate some of those drainage issues in more in the immediate future. But we are looking to get reimbursed from the utility company for not having addressed that then. So I did get your request, and I know you spoke to engineering, and we want to make sure we get that taken care of. I'll talk to also our DPW director about doing that, putting in the valley cutter.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Shmuel. Councilman Patil?
I have a couple of things. Grove Avenue, again, would like to revisit to extend the speed limit right from James Street to Edison Street, which is probably a couple of 100 feet, which is 35 miles an hour. It's not a good thing because then 25 and again 35. I would request this council to reconsider, changing the speed for the entire Grove, especially from James where Metuchen ends and Edison starts, James through all the way at least to the Oak Tree Road or at least to the New Dover. That would help to eliminate some of the speeding issues on that road. The second one is Glendale. Any updates, Sanya? Anything moved or we are still standstill?
It's still standing still. We haven't done anything with it.
And the last one is I gave you the details on the Broward Street. If someone can please visit that area, look at the road is extremely bad. Also, there's a need of a stop sign. I would say it's more of a signage, the first step in the process, the way we did on the Calvert and Grove. I think only the school buses go on that road. So even if we can put signage like only authorized vehicles can drive through here. Children are playing on that road. Again, it's a 200, 300 feet road. If we can put, safe driving. And of course, there is no outlet because it's a more or less dead end. So if you can put that signage as well would definitely be helpful. So let's show some progress in next couple of weeks so that at least residents will have some breathing there. It's a summertime, kids are playing out. At the same time, if you can please look at if once somebody visits, they will notice that this road should really get onto the paving list of 2025. Thank you. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Councilman Patel?
So, Sonia, I had a question on the bike path map that Brian was supposed to provide.
Yes. He has a draft, and we're going to coordinate a meeting with you.
Okay. And when would that be?
Whatever we can accommodate you with in terms of a meeting. If it's in person, a Zoom, whatever you
I'm open to Zoom anytime. Just give me time.
Yep.
Okay. And second thing I had was I requested a message be sent out for the Oak Tree and I always forget the second cross street. But the plot we have, that open spaces considering. But essentially, remember I reached out to Pat Coyle and you to get in touch with the community. Was that done? It might have been done, but I haven't heard anything, so.
It may have. I'd have to just go back to my emails.
Okay.
If you give me a moment.
I will follow up with you, not a problem, but just we need to do it soon because it's going to be happening in May. I want to give the residents enough warning if they need to make schedule. It's going to be at 1 p.m. on Saturday, May, I don't have my calendar open.
Would it be this upcoming Saturday, May 3rd?
May 3rd, 1 to 2 p.m. And if you need the details, I can provide it again. And the last thing, again, this one again is for Brian. I wanted an update on the policies to see if we can have a central person be responsible for any projects that are big projects that require single point of authority that takes responsibility from A to Z, which I think will help us acknowledge, and especially down the road, any lessons learned could be passed on to the next person, rather than, I feel like we kind of do a piecemeal right now, which is not what I would like.
We submitted a draft to you. Is there any input that you would like on that draft, or if you could just provide your input based on the draft we sent?
I did. I think the main thing was it still doesn't have one person responsible for the whole process.
That would be the township engineer.
Township engineer?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right. I'll take a look again, and I'll respond
Yes.
back off the email. Thank you, Sonia.
Sure.
Thank you, Councilman Patel. On to Councilman Coyle.
Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to first just discuss the opioid opportunities. Have we come up with a strategic plan for the opioid grant money? been
We are
part of-
working on it. We'd worked on an RFP to provide services between the general opioid, addressing general opioid substance abuse, and then also with our senior population. So we're working through that.
So there's been a response from the,
We did, but there were several questions. So we actually have to do program-focused RFPs.
okay. Okay, great. I mean, I think it's important, as I mentioned to many people, we have over $1 million in grant money to help out opioid epidemic and do different programs. If anybody's looking for a list of that, I can provide that for them. It's a good opportunity. I'm thankful this township received the money. Economic development, I know we've had some conversation. Thank you, Sonia, and I think I'm looking forward to that number being in the budget. And I'm asking my colleagues to ask that the money from last year be in the budget, so we have double the money for economic development, and we consider some marketing as a part of that. The fact that we didn't spend it last year, it doesn't mean we shouldn't spend it this year. The importance of marketing Edison, I don't want to talk about the mayor from the other town, but because we're certainly a better location than the other town, but they're attracting some great stuff, and I really hope we can. They just brought in, I think, Trader Joe's. They brought in Angelina's restaurant from Staten Island. But I mean, this has been 30 years in coming, so I'll give Sam some time as mayor, but it's truly important. So I hope when we do this budget, we look at that together and note the importance of how we can market Edison, that we are open for business. I'm going to skip my other questions, Council President. Affordable housing was gone over by a resident, and I'll ask the town and a separate discussion on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Brescher?
I'm just going to cut this down to 2 because it looks like everybody has allergies. But I'd like to echo my council colleagues' concerns about having a one-person type manager for projects we do. I do understand that Sonia said that Brian is the go-to person. I know Brian, and Brian's very good at what his job is, but that's not what this job entails. This would be similar to our policeman, I'm sure, can put out a fire, but you'd prefer to have the fireman put out the fire and the policeman do the police work. Brian's a civil engineer, which means he deals with land and sewers and things of that nature, not like a construction manager, which deals with projects and bidding. So until the administration can kind of understand how to build projects, right, and where the different people are, I think they're still going down the wrong road, and I think my council colleague, Mr. Patel, is going down the correct road at this time. With that said, I'd like to still get an answer on the holes in the road and the paving that I sent some pictures. And Sonia did send me a list of the items, but there's a bunch of holes. In fact, now I found out what it was. And it wasn't because the administration or Brian got back to me on it. It seems one of the residents, as usual, here I go, I'm going back to get my information on Facebook. Comcast is installing fiber optic lines throughout Edison. On Mount Pleasant, it is like pothole and then 200 or 300 feet in another pothole and then 300 feet in another pothole. And I want to know what we're going to do to repair this and fix it. Like, how do we go about this? Brian, he doesn't even have it on the list as something that needs to be taken care of. They did patch all of these, which was great. They weren't patched to our standards. I don't even know that by our law they can patch. I think they have to repave. But even with that, if you drive down Mount Pleasant and you hit them, you know, people are asking for speed humps. We don't need speed humps. All we need is Comcast to do more trenching across our roads, and everybody will be doing 25. So can we have Brian maybe here give us a report on this and what he plans on doing? Because I haven't seen him lately.
He's around. He had a prior commitment and childcare, so he couldn't be here this evening. But this administration, as you know, we're not pro necessarily speed bumps, if you will. So we'll take a look at it, and I'll have Brian provide a report to you, and we'll send you an email.
Right, there's none on that list. You know what I mean? Like, these are, there must be thousands of these around the town, and they're not listed on that report. So
You're looking for Mount Pleasant, though, correct?
well, yeah, but no, it's not. Mount Pleasant was so like when you asked me where and what I was talking about, that was a general area because I hit that every morning going to Dunkin' Donuts, right? So I hit it going there and I hit it coming back. But it's the same occurrence that's happening throughout the whole town. And that's more of the issue. You know, it's not just a Mount Pleasant thing. This is a town-wide issue that we have.
Sure.
Thank you. And that would be it, Council President.
Hope you feel better. Council Vice President?
Thank you, Council President. Before I get to my items, just a request to the administration. I know that the 2024 road paving schedule is being bid out currently. Can I just get the bid package? Because I know it has the list and a map of all the projected areas.
Sure.
Thank you. For ordinance of consideration, I did get the LI zone update, draft update today, so I haven't gone through that. I'll peruse through that and then send it to my colleagues for their feedback as well. Question to our counselor, if I may. The state statute right now requires for warehouses, anything 100,000 square feet or larger has to be solar panel ready. Do we have the ability to set our own guidelines for something of smaller square footage?
Generally, you can make the requirements more restrictive. You can't make them less restrictive. I would need to look at the statute because as soon as you take a harder stance on it, you're going to get an argument that it's preempted by the state statute. So let me take a look at it, and I'll get you an answer for Wednesday's meeting.
I appreciate that. Thank you. For community involvement initiatives, a question to the administration. Do we have a form available for anyone that may be interested in the Adopt a Spot program?
Council Vice President, we met with DPW and our administration group to go over the actual process, and we're going through the application. And once that's completed, we'll send you a copy.
I appreciate that.
Sure.
I do have 2 organizations that are interested, so that's why I'm asking.
We'll put that also on the website, but I'll share that with you.
Thank you very much. I don't know if this is necessarily a request or a question, but maybe something to add on for the Mr. Fix-It program. Other municipalities have a air conditioning assistance program where an individual can donate old window air conditioners for seniors that may not have AC during the summertime. And I know that many of our units in the township are older, so central AC isn't necessarily a luxury that everyone has. So my question is this something that we may be able to implement within Edison Township for seniors that may need assistance in that manner?
Councilman, I think that's a great idea. I'm going to share that with the administration, and that if there's an ability that there are good conditioned air conditioners. I just, again, want to make sure with our town attorney that from a liabilities perspective, if it's leaking or something to that effect, certainly would want to make sure that it's in good condition. And so we could talk about it with our group.
Absolutely, and I understand there would be some logistics to it as well. Like obviously you need to store any materials and such. So it's just a thought. And I think Monroe is a municipality that actually does this type of program, but I'll confirm on that. And finally, in regards to study and plan inquiries, I'm hoping that eventually the municipality and the administration will look into a community forestry management plan. This would help for future plans for planting, whether it's trees, shrubs, as well as get general information of what the township's current makeup is. Another question to our council, if I may. Do we have the ability to do a report on homes that are owned by LLCs or businesses?
Is your question, do we have the ability?
Is it something that,
Your tax rolls identify who the owners of properties are, whether they are individuals, partnerships, corporations, or LLCs. Could that information be provided? I can't answer that. It would require going through all line items as to ownership, but it's a matter of public record.
okay, so if it's something that we can just query inside, then I would think that that's allowable. The reason why I'm asking about this is that a lot of the homes in Edison were built in the 1940s, 1950s. They're Cape Cod-style houses. But these are the houses now that, from a renovation standpoint, are no longer going to be one-story, 1.5-story buildings. They're going to become 2-story homes. And usually that means that there's an increase in bedroom units that are associated with that. So from a development and planning process, I'm curious if we can try to extrapolate out what we could expect in the future, because that's going to affect how many kids go into the school. That's going to affect how many cars are actually parking on streets and other items like that. So just a couple of ideas for the administration.
I'm not sure the form of ownership would get you that information, though.
Well, in part because likely those companies are going to be looking to renovate.
Right.
So that would be it, Council President. Thank you.
I love your idea about the donating the air conditioners. I think that's a great idea, and I'd love to see that come to fruition. All right. Can we get a motion to adjourn?
Council President, I'm sorry. Before we adjourn, I missed to mention something. An incredible event that we had yesterday morning, a very, very moving event where we named the tennis courts on North 8th in honor of Rabbi Dr. Israel Rifkin, who was a tremendous asset and a great man in the part of South Edison. It was well attended by over 200 people. And the administration was there, the mayor was there, Councilman Joe Cola was there. He actually read the proclamation. We had assemblymen, we had Senator Pat Dignan came to the event. And more importantly, Izzy's entire family that came from Israel for this event. It was absolutely moving. And the best part about the entire thing, that after it was over, the kids and the grandkids played on the tennis courts. So that was extremely full circle, and it really makes the hard part of this job worthwhile. So I want to thank this council, administration for the support, and I welcome the entire township to come and enjoy the new refurbished tennis courts. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Shmuel. All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned at 7:10 PM. Have a good night, everybody.